Hello everybody.
Hello guys.
This is Lionel and Mary. We're so glad you were able to join in. Hope you had the chance to enjoy our latest video. If you haven't, make sure to go check it out. For today, we're gonna speak about the big elephant in the room. A lot of you were wondering how with the families, how everything was going to work out. So now in this part of the recap of the 4 years, which we're almost done. I know Mary's sick and tired of doing the recap, but I think it's important that you guys are up to date so you guys can join in.
Yes, I want to do weird stuff. I want to do. There's so much I want to talk to you guys about. It's about that recap.
We'll get there.
I'm not a patient person.
We're almost done with the recap, so put your thumbs up if you're enjoying the recap so that Mary doesn't kill me.
Just ask like juicy damn, anything juicy. You actually told the whole world that you love me, and you said that you will do that one day, and it happened. Guys, manifest what you want in life. Say it out loud. It does happen.
So we wanted to get into the next main event of the recap, which was the wedding. How did it all happen? How did we manage different cultures, different families? How did it all come together to make the wedding happen? There was a lot of back and forth. It was a lot of having to kind of fight for yourself, fight for what you want.
What you want for your marriage, the person.
For your wedding, what's important, what's
for
not important,
future,
what matters, what doesn't matter.
It was literally about like satisfying other people's wants instead of our own wants. Like all the other people they were making that about them instead of about us, and it was very hard for us. It was like we don't want getting married, we don't want going home together, we don't want going to build a family together. You guys gonna come, eat, enjoy the festivities, show your friend what happened, and after you go back to your life, to your own marriage, we deal with the repercussion of your decision. And so like it was something very hard like to deal with, especially when like it's with the people that you love, when it's your family, your friends. Oh, trust me, I lost friends. Like so many things happened, and it was very hard for me because it was friends that I thought would be with me for the rest of my life. I might have been a bridezilla, like literally, but like I just felt like somehow it wasn't easy, but I always thought that those person would be there for me in that period of time. So like losing those friends, going to whatever I had to go through, having a pregnancy before like the ceremony of the marriage was also like a big issue, and coming to the point of finally being able to do the marriage was also the wedding was also a big thing. It's almost like if it was just the two of us, Lionel would have asked me to marry him like 2-3 months after we would have done our things. Like at some point we were even thinking about doing a simple things, just go sign the paper, start our lives, and by all means like in the future when we're gonna have like enough capital, we will be better financially, we will do like our own on our own term, right? But like it was too much, too complicated. Parents were not really okay, and at the same time it was really important for me, and I think also for you, to have the blessing of our parents. Like we didn't want to go through our wedding or starting our life with that. And for me it was also, I don't know, but for my culture I needed my parents to give the blessing to my husband before like we really start that journey. So for me it's like, if we don't have the blessing of my dad, I'm not doing this.
Was the battle between patriarch and matriarch?
Yeah, it's like two different like culture, different understanding on how things work. Like we have to relearn everything about our own culture. It was discussion about between both families for months and months and months. They literally did back and forth for 2 years.
I think the toughest thing was realizing that you're kind of entering an adult conversation with people that you were always a kid to. It was very strange because the whole time I think I relied on the parents figuring things out when they were coming back to us to help them figure it out. When for us it was a bit obvious what we wanted. Things were pretty clear for us. I mean, we talked to each other every day, and at the end of the night, when all we talked to all of the back and forth between the two families and coming back to us and going back to them, we go home still knowing what we want.
Yeah.
So it was always almost like we were reliving the same day over and over again.
And I think it was also like, I don't know if I would say scared to hurt feelings of our parents, family members, and all of that, but like we didn't fight enough for what we wanted. I felt like at some point we really needed to just step up, but at the same time you want to do things the right way.
Yeah.
But like by trying to do things the right way,
you never do them at all.
Exactly. And we lose time, and like we kind of like lost our momentum, and at the end
we did a lot of things last minute.
And the way we really wanted things to happen didn't happen that way. So it was a little bit frustrated. It was almost like we lost 2 years, and at the end of the day we still like didn't
have it all.
It was almost like a little bit like of the kid being mad at the parent. We did everything right. We went to uni, we had our degree, we started working, and like in our own decision of getting married, you guys are still coming and trying like to make the decision on our life instead of like trusting that we can take care of our own life now.
I think there was a part of, at least for me, there was a part of us that wanted a nice send-off of the parents.
Yeah.
So as much as we wanted to do things our own way and do things in our own terms and having them trust us in what we're doing and what we're planning for ourselves, we still wanted them to send us off, saying, oh, okay, we see where you're going, we trust you guys, and we're right behind you.
Yeah.
And I think this right behind you kind of slipped off very fast in this preparing of the wedding. And unfortunately it set the tone on the relationship you're going to have with the family in the future. So that was a tough pill to swallow. It's something that still trying to recover from. So it was a tough thing. The craziest thing is the involvement. I didn't expect my parents to be that involved in the wedding that fast. In terms of the relationship I have with my parents since I was a kid, there was not a lot of involvement into my life. So for me, it was almost like me letting them in. When I announced it, it was me letting them in. So I didn't expect them to make themselves comfortable that easily and that quickly, because they hadn't been in my life in that way. I didn't imagine them to be as emotionally involved. I think I never seen my dad that emotional about anything. So it was very weird. It was a very foreign space for me. Didn't know how to handle it. There was a part of me that was like, okay, for the first time we having this thing that he's gonna be involved in. You don't want to let him down, but at the same time you're trying to let him know that, yo, I've been living my life in a certain type of way.
Yeah.
It's true that we haven't had that relationship where you're that much involved in how I do things and all that kind of stuff. But you can't just come in and just,
Yeah.
There's a certain entitlement that comes with family. Like, I'm your father, so we do it this way. I'm your mother, so we do it this way. We're family, so
you have to do it the way like the parent say it.
Or otherwise, it's gonna be taken in a bad way, just to say the least. It was a tough time. It was a tough conversation, a tough realization, a lot of loneliness, abandoned.
That they were not trying to understand us. We felt like it was just about them, and we just needed to understand them and accept what they wanted.
Yeah.
Man, we never felt like they were really taking the time and seeing us as adult person and like trying like to understand our feelings, where we're coming from, to be able to come and find like
a middle ground.
Yeah.
But I think the crazy thing is the battle between who's at the forefront. I remember having a conversation on the phone with my dad where he asked me, who is this wedding for?
Yeah.
And I thought it was a crazy question to ask. I was actually speechless. I don't even know if I answered that question, because even the fact that he can ask the question means there's already a misunderstanding of who's the wedding for.
Yeah.
And I think there's this idea, or at least maybe not intentionally, I'm not sure. There's this idea that the wedding is for the parents first. When, for me, the whole time while I was thinking about the marriage, thinking about the wedding, preparing the wedding, I was thinking of marriage.
And I also want to point out the fact that the people that were so close to me that I thought like would be there in my whole life, the relationship just kind of like broke out. It was really hard for me. You know how you say like, oh, when you break up with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, I never had those kind of hard breakup. It was literally like what those people go through with boyfriend and girlfriend, I went through with those friends. It was like I have long times crying and all of that. Like it was very like emotionally hard on me.
Yep.
And like the marriage kind of like pressure it, and after being pregnant with all the hormones and everything, like I would say like those 2 years was kind of like a emotional test for me. What I felt on the emotional level like was very hard, like what I have to go through on an everyday basis. It was at some point like I didn't want to do anything. I was like literally, I said, thank God I'm pregnant, because I feel like if I wasn't pregnant I would have walked out on you. Like you literally have to chase me, or like you elope or something. Like I was literally like, I'm done, you know what I mean? Like I felt like I have nobody. I felt like I was alone and I couldn't ask you certain things, or like I was even scared to talk to you about certain things because I didn't want to affect your decision and like your conversation with your parents. And I also knew that your relationship, because we talk a lot like about your parents, so I really wanted you to be objective about how we were going to like do this stuff. So I was at that place where there is a lot of things I was going through, and like you would come and talk to me about the conversation, but I never felt like I could really talk about it without affecting your answer or your decision. So there was a lot of things that I had to keep inside, and I couldn't even go to my family because like they were also involved in it. Like I didn't want to create any conflict. I don't know if you remember, there was one day during the pregnancy I just cried. I started crying in the living room. I just left the bed, I went in the living room and I started crying. I just couldn't take it anymore.
I think it was a tough one on me too, because it was a big realization of where I was at with my family, like them towards me and me towards them.
So it was kind of like testing the relationship. It almost makes you realize like how important the relationship, the partner and everything that you're building is for you. Because sometimes you go through, you feel like everything is given to you, but when like you're going through those hardships and like you have to fight to, or like you cry or nothing, and you wake up in the morning and you be like, let's do this. It makes you really like realize like what you have and what you're not ready like to lose or let go of.
You know, last video we were talking about how it's right here, and we kid about that, but it's really true. You know, I remember we were watching one of the shows, Steve Harvey, where we was talking about the ring, how it's a closed circle. And basically the closed circle is the two being partners, and we had to protect ourselves from the people that are the closest to us. You know, we had to protect ourselves from our family. You know, we know they have the best intentions, but you have to do what you believe in and deal with the consequences of that. And I think you know, we were a little bit scared of that. We were a little bit scared of dealing with the consequences, so we wanted to ease people in, you know, compromise here and there, when really, when you think about it, that was one of the things we shouldn't compromise on.
It should have been clear since the beginning.
Yeah.
But like I also say like
we trusted, because from the beginning, even when I was about to ask you to marry me, I texted them as soon as I had the revelation, right? And he told me, what do you need? My father told me, what do you need? I told him, hey, because for me, in terms of everything traditional and how the wedding was going to happen, I had no clue. I just knew that if I had to marry Mary, if I had to marry Mary, I had to show it to her, and one way of showing to her is going down on one knee and doing the whole ring thing. Because if you know traditionally the dowry is the ring, it's the getting down on your knees. So technically I didn't have to do it, but I know my wife, I know what she wanted, I know what it meant, what that symbol meant. So I knew I had to do that. So for me, I told my dad, hey, I have this surprise plan for her. I'm just gonna do that. Once I'm done doing that, we can start talking about how the whole thing works out. And in my head, I wouldn't even have to deal with that. For me, I thought, man, the two parents are gonna talk about it. Whatever needs to be discussed is gonna be discussed between two dads. This was what's in my head. Little did I know I was gonna have to be the deciding factor in the discussion. But what ended up happening is that every time they came back to me, it was restarting the whole process. So let's say I say, since we're gonna do the dowry there, let's do the whole wedding there. Dad is gonna say, no, you can't get married in a foreign land. The marriage has to happen in the family of the groom. And then I go, okay, let's do the two places then. Let's let them do what they do over there, and we're gonna show them how we do over here. So it's gonna be like an introduction of each of our culture. Everybody's gonna be able to do what they want to do. And then this whole spiel of, nah, that's too many weddings, that's too extra, and all that kind of stuff. Let's just go in down in the middle and do it in Canada. And I'm like, hell no, we're not gonna do it in Canada. My wife always dreamed of having a wedding in Ivory Coast, so we're gonna do it. At least, if anybody's gonna get what they want, at least my wife needs to get what she wants. But then there was this whole thing about the culture, and that was the one thing I think my dad couldn't let go of.
Yeah.
The getting married in Ivory Coast, that was the deal breaker for me.
And also at some point I was like, you know what? Okay, let's do this. Let's do the traditional wedding in Ivory Coast, and after let's go to Burundi or Ethiopia, like your parent place, and do the other part of the wedding, everything that civil marriage or whatever. The only thing is like, now it was on my side. The thing that was cool is that my dad was ready, like, if it's Canada, if it's Ethiopia, if it's Burundi, I'm going to come before I can come. But after, it's like, I got pregnant, I gave birth. I don't know for what reason we couldn't do Ethiopia or Burundi anymore, and like we keep postponing for something. And Lionel, I remember we sat down in our living room. We said like, we're gonna do this, even if it's just the two of us. We go and we sign the paper. We do this. We're not gonna keep going. We have a daughter. We should be married, right?
Yeah.
You asked me to be your wife before I even get pregnant. Like, we should have been married for a long time now. We're not gonna be sitting about where the ceremony is going to be taken for years. Like, not gonna do that for 5 years. 2 years is enough.
Yeah.
So when we decided to do that, I remember that we decided to do it in Canada, and your parents said they couldn't come. And like, I remember calling my parents. My mom couldn't come. My brother from Ivory Coast couldn't come. I have like my brother and sister here, and your brother and sister.
Yeah, luckily.
And my dad was like, I'm coming no matter what.
Yeah.
My daughter's getting married, I have to be there.
Yeah.
So I remember we wanted to do that a certain date, and he begs us, he's like, I can come, I can travel this date, can you do that around those dates? So we decided to do that weekend, but we were not going to do anything big whatsoever.
We didn't think of doing anything.
Yeah, we were thinking about like, we go out,
sign the
paper and have
a few friends,
and just eat together and have fun, and that's it.
Maybe dance a little bit.
Yeah,
that's about it. But we said that we need to finish all of this before the end of the year 2018. Yeah. We're not gonna wait that much longer. We've been twirling around trying to find a compromise, and I think me and Mary, we were just like, okay, we wanted to move on, and we felt like we were stuck.
Yeah, you feel like you're stuck in something, you're in a discussion
that you're already done with. I mean, for us, like, we were, in our mind, we're like married forever, and like all we need to do is to have the celebration to symbolize it and just get it over with. No?
And I also feel like it was almost like if we say like, okay, we wait for you, there's always going to be a reason why like we're not actually doing that thing.
Yeah.
I had people that were supposed to come at the first date that we chose back in the days for the wedding, and they couldn't come, and I'm like, you know what, at this point I don't even need bridesmaid or anything. I just want to be married and move on with my life.
We wanted to move on. At some point, we just wanted to move on.
You
like,
just stuck in that
we
thing.
felt like we were getting tossed around a little bit too much. We got tired of it, and we were like, hey,
and I'm like, yo,
it needs to happen.
let's do our own thing with our own money. If like we can, let's do our thing. So we just wanted like these things to be done and move on. We're not going to spend the rest of our 20s talking about the fact of being married. Like, this is crazy. At some point we needed to do that, and after move on with the rest of the thing. There's so many things, like be ready for your kid to start school, like building your family, building your future, building the future for your kid. What is the legacy that you want them to have? Which kind of future do we want for ourselves? Which kind of careers do we want for ourselves? What are our dreams? We couldn't even think about all those things. Everything was
stuck in this
for 2 years.
Vicious circle.
Yeah, and like it's like we got stuck in those things for 2 years, that it's only now that we're really able to work on our dreams, to work on the things that we want, to work on our financial, what is important or not, what do we want for our kid. Those discussions can really happen now. And I kind of find it sad.
Yeah, it's a little bit silly. So yeah, so we ended up having the little wedding in Toronto, here in Canada, and we did the dowry in Ivory Coast. And even because of all the scheduling, we were finally allowed to even compromise a little bit more, and we did the little wedding in Canada before we even did the dowry. When really the dowry was supposed to happen before.
It was almost like my dad said, oh, I already gave my blessing, but the family still need to know him. So we signed the paper here. I went to Ivory Coast, and Lionel met me there after. We did the dowry, like kind of a ceremony, like a symbolic kind of thing. When I say the whole family, I'm telling you guys, Lionel knows my whole family. The whole village was there. My dad put the village and say, yo, if today I'm not here, know that Burundian man,
this is the guy.
He came and he took our daughter. So if I'm not here, that it doesn't treat her well, you guys can go
witness.
You are witness. You can go and take my daughter back. There were so many people I didn't even know, but it was nice to see that the whole family show up. I really felt supported. I met cousins that I didn't know, and they were very like, if you need anything, like even if you're in Canada, we have your back. So for me, if I feel reassured, and like I really thought of it, it's still kind of a little bit crazy to marry someone from Burundi, because they don't really know the culture, who the person is, the family. They don't know if that person is going to treat well your daughter. So it's kind of scary that to just give your daughter away like that. So I do understand where they're coming from.
I think her father kind of recognized the fact that we were tired of waiting. And I think the one thing that really helped us is the relationship that I have with her and that she has with her father. I think that really helped balance things, because I think that for me and her father, it was an easy conversation because it was always about her. So we had that thing in common where that was the one thing that took a little bit of pressure off of me. It's the fact that I knew that he, like, just like me, is gonna think of her first. I think he's the one that kind of helped to push this thing forward, where, you know, he recognized, just like I did, that Mary was tired, man. Mary was tired. She wanted things to happen, and I think it was hard for me. It was hard for me to watch, because when you're really close with someone, you start sharing their dreams, man. I started dreaming of the dream that she had when it came to the wedding, so I started wanting to have that wedding. So I was starting to hold on to that wedding. So having her let go of it and knowing that she had to sacrifice that, it was a bit sad. But man, I'm praying hard, man, that we're gonna make it, and I'm gonna still give her that wedding. So yeah, man, the wedding happened. The small wedding that we thought we were going to prepare ended up being awesome.
Yeah,
Very
like
pretty. Like, I was surprised.
I'm surprised by myself. You know how you do work and you don't, because like I didn't have like a wedding planner and all of that. I just know that I called the restaurant and I told them what I wanted. I wanted things my budget exactly.
Yeah,
I can
we
go
got the
beyond.
decorators.
We got the decorator. I remember like I took the
We
guys,
did the chapel.
Lionel and my brothers. They took the audio, like they placed everything, the speakers,
We
they
had some
put,
friends that helped us out.
they helped us. Like we did everything with friends. Like we did everything on our own with what we have. Like,
What we have, really.
but literally, if you see the video and everything with
Yeah, you
that
guys saw the
small
video.
budget and everything, like we kind of
We
did
made
well.
it happen.
We made it happen.
I was so proud.
Like the people that could be there, they were there. We ate, we had fun,
Yeah.
danced. It was really nice to see that the friend of Lionel coming from like Montreal,
Yeah, that was so dope.
like they
That
got
was
my
so dope.
back. Even when we're taking the picture, I find like I didn't have like my bridesmen and all of that because they couldn't be there, like because of the day that we chose and all of that. But like they almost like they put Lionel at the side and they say like, I know we're supposed to be your groomsmen, but we marry bridesmaids. Like I really felt like they got my back in the picture. They were with me. They were maybe, are you okay and all of that, do you need help?
Yeah,
And
that
it,
was so dope.
I mean, like the thing that I really loved about it was like not just the dance part, but after when we went all home, we were living in that little condo and all of that. We were all in the living room.
Yeah.
So I had my sister living with us. My dad was staying with us,
Yeah.
and like we had the
two
baby
friends,
and
yeah,
the two
baby, we had
friends.
Gigi.
And like the house was filled, it was like very fun when we had pizza. It was really like simple but filled with love, and it's something that I wanted. I wanted all the people that was there to generally be happy for us.
Yeah.
I wanted that energy, that light, like in our wedding, and I felt that, like I felt like those few people that came in were really there for me. I didn't want people that was just there to be there.
Yeah.
So that was the highlight of the wedding basically.
Yeah, man. I mean, it turned out really nice. I mean, we really gave up on our whole big wedding. We thought in our mind, Abidjan was the dowry, the traditional wedding was going to be the big wedding where we were going to be able to invite anybody that could come last minute. Everything was really done last minute. Invites were not even sent properly for the dowry. But we thought to ourselves, at least for Toronto, we're going to gather the few friends that we have here. And we were able to gather them. And it really, really hurt me, to be honest. There's so many people that I would have wanted to see at my wedding. There's so many friends from high school and all that kind of stuff. Really, this thing right here, I think was one of the things that I wanted to celebrate the most for me. Everybody needed to witness that. I wanted everybody to know. There's so many people that I wanted to see. I know that, you know, there's probably a lot of feelings that I've heard because of, you know, people not knowing that I was getting married. But a lot of people understood the pressure that I was on and how everything was happening too fast, and it was not organized and all that kind of stuff. People really understand, and I really appreciate it. You guys know who you are, and for those that made it to Toronto, man, I can't thank you guys enough.
You guys are the best, man.
My guy Couscous, he's a aujourd'hui. The big duet.
Yo.
So yeah, man, I thank you guys a lot. It turned out really well. And Abidjan, man. Abidjan was home, man.
Abidjan was like, Lionel felt more at home than me.
Really?
You know, went there and they called him Sehidu. They felt like it was Ivory. They couldn't even guess that it was from Burundi. Like all the dance that was happening, like that was trending, he knew everything, was having fun with it. At the wedding, he danced with my uncles more than me. It's like, you put him in the family, you didn't know who was my family. If it was my husband, I felt so like, this is not fair.
I got to wear the traditional clothes.
Yeah.
I really felt welcome there, man. I really did. I didn't feel like a stranger, and man, I felt like I was part of the family. I mean, I was taken in so well. And to be honest, I don't know if it's just a family thing. I think it's an Ivorian thing. Where like, you guys are very open in terms of like, Ivorian themselves, the people, they're very open, very warm. It's almost like they're intrigued, they're interested by what's different. They don't pull away from it, they embrace it a little bit more. And man, from both family, from her mother's side to her father's side, I was getting clothes, I was getting invited, I was getting smile and joy and hugs from people. I mean, I felt like I was on top of the world there. Man. I felt like a king the whole time there, man.
It was getting blessing everywhere. I remember.
I felt like I was getting crowned as a king.
Yeah, I remember we went to see one of my aunts that I didn't see in a long time, and we got there, like in the house with my mom, and the aunt was like, "Is he younger than you?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "Girl, that man is fine." Did you like my mom was like, "Oh yes, and they actually got married, like we did the dowry last week and this is their baby." And they were like, "Those two children, they have children." And the whole time she was talking about how handsome you are, and she was making joke or whatever, and that I need to step up.
But just to say, man, it was amazing. I felt right at home. I mean, I'm looking forward to the next time I'm going to go there. I know I have a place to call home over there. Anytime I want to go there now, I feel really comfortable. I feel really at ease. Like, yeah, man. The whole family took me in very well. Ever since the beginning of the relationship, and the wedding just solidified everything. So what would you have done differently now that you've seen all of this?
Basically, in terms of wedding, I think like if I could have done something differently, it would be like when you asked me to marry you, I really wouldn't wait on anybody. I would have went and do the thing that we want. Even if it was in Canada and wait to do something bigger after, I would have just went through it and do it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it felt like we just lost time talking. It's not even like we end up doing things that we really wanted. We ended up doing like something very sacrifice. So in my head is like, if it was to do that, we should have done it a long time ago.
And I know some people are gonna say it's normal to sacrifice something, but really it isn't. For a time like this, there's some people that need to be at the forefront of it, and the people getting married, the two couple that is gonna go embark in this new journey that is called marriage, they should be put in the pedestal. Everybody around them should be a support to level them up and send them off, just like they would wish to have it happen. Like, seriously. And
I want to give advice for all those people that are friends with people that might get married or whatever. People are going through a lot of things. Like, not everybody, but you should know that it's their wedding. They have the right to be bridezilla. They have the right to go to the emotion.
It's the one time. That's the one time.
At that moment, be the biggest friend or the biggest supporter that you can ever be. Even if it's a distance that you can't be with those person, be with them at distance. I know that I lost friend in that time. Even thinking about that time and like the way things happen kind of make me a little bit emotional right now. But I also have friends that I knew longer than that I'm not talking to them on an everyday basis. For example, shout out to you, Linda. She's living in Atlanta. She did everything, a visa, everything to come to Canada, but she didn't get a passport on time to come to our wedding. But the mental support that I also got from her was incredible. Even now in my marriage, we don't talk every day, and like there's so many things. I mean, she's so understanding. Like every time I'm going through something and I call her, she's just there for me. And same thing for her. Like, we don't talk every time, but every time she's able to get me on the phone, she'll tell me, and like we talk. And I just want to say, like, your friends or like your people is not just people that you're gonna patch, is gonna be there for you. It's the people that even if you don't talk for the next 4 months, but you pick up the phone and you talk with them, they got your back. After the hurt, after the pain, what do we get?
What is left?
What is left? Like, if we have each other beyond all of that, that's what
That's
makes
what
friendship.
what do you say?
And one last thing that I wanted to say is like the fact that we were first, like in our group of friends or in our family, like everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
We were the
We
first
child getting married.
first child having children. Like it's almost like all those first experience went through us, so we were the one, like we have to
Almost
hit
like the guinea pigs.
exactly, we hit the wall, and like they're able to learn from us and do whatever they want. But sometimes it's really hard to be first. You don't want to hit the wall, you want your process to be smooth. But you hit it, so this can also drain you emotionally.
I think the one thing that I'll say I would make things different, and I think we talked about it, the two of us, is making it more about God than it is about humans.
Yeah, like really, like we should have took it to the spiritual level.
Yeah, we should have taken it to church directly.
Exactly, we talk too much about what like people might want, ceremony. We should have just go and get church and get married, and that's it.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing I would have done differently, because I think from the time God gave me that revelation, He wasn't talking about waiting years and years afterwards, especially knowing that we got our first child right after. So I think like from the time I had my revelation, I would have gone to church directly, prepared for the wedding at the church, and let the parents figure out what they want to do, and make sure that we didn't make it about them, that we made it about making it right with God and going from there. At the end of the day, really, we're thankful we made it through. There's a part of us that's even thankful that we were the first, because something that we're so excited about is being able to help our friends that are going to come into this journey. So we're really looking forward to be there for you guys. We love you guys and we thank you guys. And this was Lionel and Mary. We made it through the wedding. We did it. It worked out. It's wonderful. We got into the marriage and we're working things out. We keep progressing. We keep reaching those high level of growth. So thank you guys for joining us. Hope you enjoyed this video and hope to see you soon. Be with you everywhere. Lionel and Mary out.